With Chief Political Correspondent Mark Davis right now, live in Hartford, where Governor Malloy is expected in just a few minutes. Good morning, Mark.
Hi, Stephanie. Good morning, everyone, from the Emergency Operations Center at the State Armory in Hartford. The governor is just finishing up a conference in the room actually right behind the podium here. I think you can see he was meeting with the state meteorologist, Doug Glowacki, and state agency heads. The representatives of the power companies are also here to see exactly how the state is faring so far. And then later on this morning, he'll have a conference with municipalities on the conference phone. Here now is the governor.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me here today. I wanted to update everyone on the latest with respect to our snowstorm. I just finished a conference call with all state agencies represented and emergency responders as well. The Emergency Operations Center opened at 5 a.m. this morning, and we plan to remain active through 5 p.m., and that could be adjusted to later in the evening if necessary. I do want to note that we expect very cold weather. We expect, therefore, that wind and snow will die down by 5 p.m. We will then go into our cold weather protocol. And what that means is people will actually travel to areas and communities and towns that we know homeless people may otherwise congregate, and bring them inside and urge them to come out of the cold. We're talking about temperatures in the single digits as possibilities, with wind chill factors below zero. So we're concerned about that later in the day. All who are involved in cold weather protocols have been notified that we are expecting that work to be carried out once it can safely be done. As of 8 a.m., Connecticut State Police have responded to approximately a little over 200 calls for service, about 30 accidents involved in that response, no fatalities, some minor injuries. We are currently witnessing heavy snow, as anyone can tell looking out the windows. We also had thunder snow. I observed that myself this morning in the Hartford-West Hartford line. Low visibility and heavy snowfall rates are making driving difficult. We urge people to stay indoors and don't get in your car unless you absolutely have to. Our highways are open and will remain open, we anticipate. That is always subject to change, but we are also attempting to coordinate all of our activities with our neighboring states of New York, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. The Department of Transportation has 634 state plow trucks, 250 contractors working to clear the roads as I speak. I want to remind again motorists for the safety of our plow drivers, please stay back, please stay away from the plows. We are also using some of our multiple lane plow trucks. In that case, please stay even further back. Drivers are urged to stay clear of those snow plows. Best advice that I can give to motorists is to stay inside. State police have extra units available, and National Guard has units available to help us clear roads should that be necessary, or clear accidents for that matter. And while we do not anticipate any severe power outages, based on my conversations with both major utilities in the state, they are well staffed at this point, both with respect to tree crews as well as service restoration. With that, I'll take your questions.
With gale winds expected on the shoreline, how can they be so optimistic?
One of the utilities had 0 outages as of the call, and one had 99. So those are extraordinarily low numbers of calls. Obviously, that can change during the day, but with respect to Eversource, they have 99 response crews ready, as well as many, I think it was 44 tree crews ready to respond. So the response is ready. It's on campus, and so we'll do the best we can. UI had a significant number as well, but for obviously a much smaller portion of the geography.
What about the trains?
Trains are running relatively on time. That includes our Metro North trains and most Amtrak service, with the exception of Amtrak service through Springfield, Hartford, which is not running. Now, during the day, that would not normally be running because it would be bus traffic. They've just discontinued that service currently.
You said you would coordinate any highway announcements with New York.
They have none of our neighboring states have asked to close highways. There is a tandem truck partial ban or ban in New York State in the Newburgh area. We'll monitor that to make sure that that doesn't cause any particular difficulties for us, say, on the I-84 approach from Danbury.
How long do you expect the heavy snow to last?
We're expecting heavy snow to last at least through 2 o'clock, with snow itself lasting through the 4 or 5 o'clock hour, based on our latest weather service information. As that changes, you guys will probably get it first.
Was there some coordination with the businesses in Hartford, because there was no traffic coming in here today? I assume most of the businesses either followed your lead, or was it coordinated with you?
What happens is they look to us quite frequently. We made the call unofficially, I think, around 7 o'clock, and started to share that information. And a number, to the best of my knowledge, a number of the employers followed our lead in that regard. We have a particular issue in urban areas where there's a flood of cars coming in off highway systems, and I think a lot of folks just decided rather than putting their employees there, they would have them work from home or simply cancel the day. Obviously, there are businesses that are open, delis and food markets and gas stations, but I think everyone did the right thing in limiting the number of folks who had to be on the road. Anybody else?
Is there any significant discussion about possibility of closing highways? I know you said they are staying open.
Sure, there's always a significant discussion. We had it in there, but we also have pictures of the highway system that we also can observe. Crews are staying on top of clearing the snow, so we don't have any major accumulation, meaning that we may have a snowpack of an inch or 2 or 3 at any given time, but what we're not experiencing is large amounts of snow that we have had in the past. That meaning 6, 7, 8, 10, 20, 30 inches. That's not what we're experiencing. Therefore, there's no reason to close the roads at this time. If there becomes a reason to close the roads, for instance, an accident or the like, then we'll make those announcements. We did have one jackknife trailer truck that caused a partial closing of a road for a period of time, not a road that we closed, but just by lane blockage. That was cleaned up fairly quickly, or is being cleaned. I think it's now cleaned. But we have jackknife trucks in good weather.
So, have any surrounding states made moves to close their highways at all?
No, no. The only thing that we're aware of in our surrounding states is a tandem truck limitation in the Newburgh area on, I guess that's 84 in New York State. But no, to the best of our knowledge, no actual closures in any of the surrounding states. We will touch base with municipalities. I don't know how many will be on. That's really kind of an opportunity for us to understand if they have any special needs.
Right. Would you be reporting back to us at that time?
It's not planned. If you want, maybe you can talk to our press people if there's a particular need or desire to do that. I'm going to be here for that call, right? So, yeah.
But if some municipalities, especially on the shoreline, have special need, is the Guard available?
Yeah, we have 700 guardsmen and women ready to respond. So we have ample personnel available through the Guard, as well as, quite frankly, as I've said, over 800 trucks available through the DOT. I will remind you that local governments have their own trucks, and many local governments have their own contractors. Again, this is a pretty nasty storm, but is not a storm that's anticipated to deliver 30 inches or more to the state of Connecticut. I've had that experience. So we're doing our best to stay on top of it, and that's what we'll do.
Have you seen about 2 inches an hour of snowfall? I guess visibility has to be a major concern.
Yeah, actually, I think there are there have been times and will continue to be times where we can see snowfalls at a rate of 4 inches an hour. That doesn't mean you'll get 4 inches in an hour, but it will be falling for 10, 15 minutes. This is particularly along in the area of New London and up the Connecticut River. As well, so we're watching that situation. Hopefully and luckily, so far that has not been sustained over a full hour period of time, because 4 inches is a lot of snow to move for trucks in that situation. But we are having that visibility issue.
Have you received any request for special assistance?
No.
At this stage?
No. No.
Do you anticipate the likelihood of that?
Well, again, I think that it appears that the eastern portion of the state is getting at the high end and may exceed original predictions with respect to snow. That snow most likely will be heavier, so it's possible that we'll get some of those requests. I know that we have seen requests in Stonington in the past, in Stonington Borough in the past. I know that we've offered assistance to some of the smaller communities out there. Again, those were in instances where we had substantially larger amounts of snowfall. Having said that, there's a reason we have a municipal call, and that is to make sure that we're reaching out to our partners on the municipal level.
So what does your forecaster say to expect in Eastern
The overall, state average is around 12 inches, based on some banding that you're seeing off of the tip of Long Island into the eastern portion. It's not impossible that they could see 18 inches. Okay, great. Well, thank you. And I'm here. Do you have any other? Doesn't have to be done live, but.
President Trump has taken to Twitter to go after Senator Blumenthal regarding his disclosure of what Judge Gorsuch said concerning the president's his criticism of the president's criticism of judiciary, and in one of his tweets he brought up the Vietnam controversy.
I've pleaded with people in Washington to take the president's phone away from him. He's making himself look small and potentially unhinged, and I think that's disruptive to